And welcome everybody to the Sunday night edition of the Scenic City Sports Podcast for this August the 24th, 2025. And for those of you that are golf fans, if you were just watching the way that we were all just watching, Tommy Fleetwood has finally broken through and won his first PGA Tour event, and he made it a big one. He comes alive all week this week. He's more or less led wire to wire, or almost wire to
Just
wire.
about, yeah.
And everybody in the country's pulling for him.
Everybody,
World.
I mean, there's been tweets coming out all day from people like Caitlin Clark and LeBron James and everybody and their brother saying maybe this is when Tommy finally breaks through. FedEx Cup champ, $10 million is what he will take home for first place in this golf tournament. A full field of over, the full purse in this field is over $40 million. So if you're going to break through, that's a hell of a one to break through with.
Yeah, and look, congratulations to him because he deserves it. He's been one of the best golfers in the world for several years. And
yeah, he has.
It's about time that he finally.
Where is he from?
He's from England.
Okay, that's what I.
Yeah.
I knew I read. Obviously,
it was his
I
first ever
if it was England or
PGA Tour
Ireland.
win.
Because he does sound a lot like Rory when he talks.
But if you're going to make it a Player of the Year award for the winner, can we not use the whole season?
But we did use the whole season.
Yeah, we kind of did. But
Well, now explain yourself, Scott, for the people that don't know.
He just won his first ever PGA tournament.
Okay.
Scott's sore because Scotty won 5 times and ain't going to be Player of the Year.
One tournament.
So you win this tournament, you get...
And now he's Player of the Year.
Is that how it works?
Because the FedEx Cup had like 4 tournaments, and he played better for 4 tournaments.
Okay.
And I know you had to gain points to get into the Tour Championship, but
It's kind of
the thing with the NASCAR thing now. I don't like these chase for the championships. Just who's been the best player all year?
Well,
that should be your player.
It's kind of like Bonds hitting 70 home runs and you giving it to somebody else. Is that what we're talking about?
You know what's funny to me about listening to this little diatribe right here? This is the biggest Matt Kenseth fan that ever lived. And the year that Matt Kenseth won the NASCAR Cup Championship, he won 1 race.
No, he didn't win any races that year.
He won 1 race that year. He won 1 that year.
Was it the year he won Vegas?
Yeah, either Vegas or Richmond.
I didn't think he won anything.
He won
that
a
year.
race. So
but
he's basically, stabbing his own argument.
No, he won the championship because he was the most consistent racer all year long. Scotty Scheffler has been the most consistent golfer all year long.
But there is also...
He should be the Player of the Year.
But there is also a point system in place to be able to qualify for that championship.
I know.
There is a handicapping system in that tournament that sets
No, they took it out.
Yeah, they took the handicapping
Thank God, because that was
terrible. There is a system in place for you to get there. And, for all of us that argue BS in every other sport about why don't they just decide it on the field, well, the PGA Tour decides it on the field. I mean, they put it out there and say, hey, and Scotty, don't think Scotty didn't have his chances. He was red hot. After a terrible first hole, he got hot there for a little while, and if it hadn't been for the duck hook that he hit in at 15 into the water, who knows what might have been.
I've never liked this the NASCAR chase for the championship.
No, I don't like it either.
I don't like the PGA FedEx Cup point system. Just make the Player of the Year who's had the best year all year long. It's not that difficult.
But you're getting into, you're kind of, the thing about that is you're splitting hairs a little bit when you're the organizations, because what you're doing is you're taking the things that made your sport popular and you're telling the fans that have been along with you for the entire ride, well, what we used to do was good and all, but we have all these new people that are coming to the sport, so we're just going to change everything completely, and if you're going to continue to watch this sport, you're just going to like it.
So, like the Cracker Barrel
oh Lord,
way of thinking.
I'm sorry, but that stuff like that that's just crap. Every company in America should have the right to change their logo anytime they choose to change it.
They should.
And people should just shut the hell up and accept it.
But as one marketing guy I read said,
he's not even a gravy and biscuits guy, and he's talking like that.
I love Cracker Barrel, but I mean, who cares?
When you have finally established a logo, in his words, that people give a damn about, You don't go change it when nobody's asked you to change
How
it.
many
Well,
times-
if you would have asked me
How many
for
times
some
has Coca-Cola
recommendations,
changed their logo? How many times they changed their cans?
None. Well,
Bull, they have.
They changed their logo
and
one time.
They have
and what
changed
happened?
their cans several times.
They
Pepsi
changed
has
it.
changed their
Don't-
cans several times.
and
Mountain
that's
Dew
not
has
where they
changed
should have
its can.
focused. They should have focused on the time the waitress takes the order to the time the food gets back out. There's a disconnect in that
Yes.
Yeah.
kitchen. There's where they need to focus,
Yes.
not on that
That's
sign
the
out
problem.
front.
The most popular beer in America per capita is Bud Light, and Bud Light has changed their can on numerous occasions. And that's the other thing too with Cracker Barrel. If you go to a Cracker Barrel right now, go to the one in East Ridge because they have done the new remodel for it.
They have.
Yes, Cracker Barrel is trying to bring itself into the modern era. They're more open concept now. They're taking, and let's be honest, going into Cracker Barrel for a long time was like going in your great-great-grandmother's house that never threw anything away. I just hang it on the wall. It'll be all right. And that's, that's Cracker. And now they're trying to, and I guess maybe that the logo goes along with that, but it don't mean the food's any less good. I mean, the service is fine. I don't know. I don't
No, Scott
understand.
agreed with me. Where's
No,
their
I mean,
disconnect? From the time
I
they take
agree
the
with
food to
y'all.
the time
It's
it comes
smaller
out.
portions.
I completely, yeah,
With
but
smaller portions, it's more money, which I understand all restaurants are going through that.
we need smaller
But
portions.
when you're 2,000 miles away across the country and you see that old guy lean up against that barrel, you know what you're getting, and it's comforting. And you're going away from something that people know and love, and like you said, going to your great grandmother's house.
yeah,
People want to do that because they want to be reminded of what it was like to eat your great grandmother's
but you
house.
didn't
back in
change the colors.
No, but
You didn't
but
change the
you took
menu.
away. You took away.
I'll
essence
tell
of
you
Cracker
this.
Of all the things people are going to get pissed off about, I would have thought they'd have been a whole hell of a lot more pissed off 2 years ago when they added alcohol to the menu.
Oh, they were.
I mean,
They were, but people got over that.
And as I go in Cracker Barrel from time to time, it is a rarity that I see anybody drinking it.
no. I mean,
I think they thought it needed to be there,
They-
but that's not
I
what
think
people
they
come
thought
there
it was
for.
going to be a big seller. I think they thought it would be a big seller for them, and I just don't think that
It wasn't.
Well, that's not.
There's
a,
profit in it, but there wasn't a
Well,
their
marketplace for
marketing
it.
department's over 2 now.
A steak pairs well with wine, or a steak pairs well with certain types of beer, stuff like that. Gravy and biscuit,
No, it don't. It don't.
country breakfast, vegetables, stuff like that does not pair well with a Bud Light.
You know
I mean,
what
it just
parallels
doesn't.
with everything at Cracker Barrel? Sweet tea.
That's right.
That's all you need.
That's all you need.
You don't,
Sweet tea.
you don't even need Coke. You don't
I
need
mean,
Sprite.
You may get a phone call this
And
time next week and be offered some kind of big position.
But you know
with
what,
this.
y'all?
be.
I mean, seriously, like
We'll lose him
I
to
get in
Cracker
this-
Barrel.
I get in these conversations with because I teach a couple classes of government, and the kids and I we talk about things like just like this very same thing, and it is all change good? No. Is all change bad? No. But somebody's got to have the stones to step up and go, maybe we could do this a little better, or maybe
Well-
change is what makes the world go round.
And I get that, but if you didn't read, Cracker Barrel's market share was down $100 million
Yeah.
the day after they changed.
So it wasn't being well taken over there.
$100 million worth of market share gone.
There's
Like,
a pop quiz you can bring up in here.
yeah.
maybe we should have just left it the way it was.
Again, that wasn't their problem. They had other internal problems.
Their problem was they didn't check with their clientele. They didn't ask, did you want us to remodel? No,
yeah.
they don't.
Yeah, but
No.
did
Do you want faster service? Do you want bigger portions? Yeah, we can maybe
But-
work with that. Leave that where it is.
But
Everybody
McDonald's
loves
didn't
it.
ask us any of the 5,000 times that they've remodeled the inside of their restaurants. Taco Bell didn't ask us when they took away the cool
No.
teal and purple paint
No.
scheme and turned it into a depressed teenager.
But has that
mean-
golden arch ever left?
no, the Golden Arch is still there.
Exactly. That's what's recognizable is that
But
logo.
the Cracker Barrel logo
And
is still the same color, and it is still in the shape of a barrel.
But it's not the same logo. It's
They
not
got
even
rid of the
close.
cracker.
Got rid of
Well,
Uncle Herschel.
there's the problem.
Well, they've been getting rid of Uncle Herschel for a while. There's not been an Uncle Herschel's breakfast on the menu in over 10 years.
It's there. I think you can still order it.
It's
but,
Grandma's Finest
and
or
then
something
they
now.
said, well, Uncle Herschel will still be significantly part of the business and the menu and stuff. I said, well, if you're going to be a significant part, then keep him on the logo. I'm telling you, this was a major screw up by Cracker Barrel.
I'm telling you, a year from now, it's a
Major
blip on the
screw-up.
radar that nobody pays
And we
attention
can
to.
continue this discussion
Yeah.
at Scenic City Dark Times. But right now, we had a good week of
Really good week of high school football.
high
Who the
school
hell
football.
cares about high school
Yeah.
football? We're talking logos.
Because
I'll tell
it'll
you
all
what.
work. It'll all work
I'll tell
out.
you what, those
They'll
of
give
out
you some
there,
extra
obviously
biscuits
we're
when
gonna
you
talk
go in
some
there.
local high school football, but if you didn't watch that St. Thomas Aquinas,
Who won the fight?
Mater Dei
I saw a
game
good
last
port. Did you
night.
see any of that?
Mater Dei was
No.
up. The last time I flipped it over, Mater Dei was still up 18, and
Was this last night?
they played it last night.
You talking about looking like a
That
college
was-
football team
Oh
out
my
there.
God, they were.
Scott, they're just
Those two teams were
They're
something.
number one in the country for a reason.
Well, there's
Yeah.
a reason that they're number one
Well,
too.
St.
They don't
Thomas
just
looked
happen
real good,
to.
too, though.
St. Thomas
you
is
know.
another one
Yeah.
that's like
They don't just live in the neighborhood and just happen to
Yeah.
go to that school.
Mater Dei is that's California, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is.
Man, they were big.
That's not the. Is that the little? No, the one I'm thinking of is the one that was the little.
No, you're thinking
Rancho
De
de
La
La
Salle.
Salle. That was the single
Yeah,
A.
no,
Mater
Matt-
Dei is what 4A, 5A, or maybe 6A out there.
yeah, it's Mater Dei Catholic.
Yeah.
Yeah, they won 26-23.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Oh,
close.
so St. Thomas brought it back.
Well,
The
now
last
St.
time I saw
Thomas
they
is
were
how many
still up
times?
16.
Well, how many
Numerous-
state champs have they won?
Oh, wow.
Numerous
Several.
players in the NFL: Matt Leinart, Matt Barkley, Amon-Ra St. Brown. List goes on and on
Equanimous
and
St.
on.
Brown.
Yeah,
I'm
so,
sure.
I mean, they've
One brother's in, the other brother's
Well, it was
in.
a big football team, Scott, and
Oh,
it
yeah.
and it looked like it was SEC
I
ready.
believe those two
Yeah.
boys
Play
were
a-
named with a bag of Scrabble tiles.
and then I
Throw 'em out
saw
on the ground and see what happens.
IMG came up to Birmingham and beat Hoover
Yeah.
34-14. I say this, and I know high school football is getting more and more commercial, but boy, it's really nice to see some of these powerhouse programs play each other first
Yeah.
part of the year. It's just fun. I mean, I know most people are going to say you can't call IMG a high school team because
Well, because
it's
that's
an all-star
it's,
team.
it's an
best of this, but
that's a sports academy, but I mean,
Yeah.
but St. Thomas and Mater Dei, that's
But what
That's a
Scott
great
is
matchup.
saying, and this kind of,
I agree with him.
when did Corky Kell get going, Scott, for the state of Georgia?
About 20 years ago.
probably 15.
Yeah,
and
I was
and
gonna
that was a version of for the state itself.
Oh, yeah.
For the really good teams to play other really good
Mm-hmm.
teams, just for bragging rights and great coach up purposes as well. So I'm with you, Scott. These big programs that are all over the country, and I applaud them, getting together out of the gates and playing each other
Mm-hmm.
for a few weeks, because that's something that high school public fan don't always get to see, you know.
Well, an A game a year, you play that first game of the year. Don't tell me that both of those teams didn't get a nice. I'm sure they got
Oh,
a
yeah.
nice travel stipend and probably a participatory stipend from ESPN for putting that game in prime
Maybe.
time. I would imagine.
And again, I could see
And-
them. I could see the school paying some too because
Oh,
yeah.
of the
Oh,
of the exposure
of the
that you're going to
exposure.
get. Yeah,
The
I mean,
schools that host those games are paying.
Yeah, I think Baylor
They're
did that.
paid.
I
Yeah.
think Baylor
Yeah.
did this a few years ago, and of course they were on.
Yeah, they did with the Raven Gap team over
and
there.
that was a great team
on the
they
North
played.
Carolina border. Yeah,
well, we've had some. There was some really good games this week. Going back over the scoreboard and stuff like that, there were some really good games in the area. Y'all guys were at Silverdale.
Yeah,
and,
we had a really. I thought the game would be close coming in. I was listening to some folks on the radio, and it seemed like a lot more of them felt like Silverdale would pull this off. And Silverdale's got to believe that, kicking themselves, they had the game seemingly in hand. You're up by 2 scores and 5 minutes going to the game, and you get beat. They kept a 2-score deficit most of the game. Tyner had its opportunities to score numerous times and would come away with very little. But last 5 minutes, you can't say the Ram train didn't do its part because they. I won't say that Silverdale lost it because I really think the Tyner Rams went out there and won it.
fantastic game over there. I was at LFO that was as loud of a crowd at Tommy Cash Stadium
As there's been in 20 years.
seriously, as there's been in 20
And it was
years.
a great crowd, I'm sure.
Yes. I know at one point, late third quarter, early fourth quarter, something like that. And Heritage, if you didn't say Heritage, first quarter, they kind of went back and forth. Nobody scored. And then Heritage gets 2 long pass plays. They're up 13-0. Going to kick a field goal there at the end of the half, or right before the end of the half. Jared Mitchell blocks it. And I said right there, that could be a big play in this ballgame. Well, Heritage comes out. First drive of the third quarter, like second play, they hit another long touchdown pass. And they're like, okay, well, this is probably getting close to being over. It's 19-0.
19-0.
LFO's shown really nothing offensively. And all of a sudden, 2 big runs, they score a touchdown. They're like, okay, maybe we got something here. Then Jared Mitchell runs back an interception, 67 yards for a touchdown. Okay, maybe we got a game here. And then LFO's defense stepped up and made a couple of big stops back to back. LFO drives down, scores again. Now they take the lead.
2019.
And I was in the press box, and it was shaking.
Oh, yeah.
The home crowd was stomping so loud, the entire press box was shaking. And give credit to Heritage, they came right back. Braden Slaughter was a beast out there. I think he had 150-something yards rushing. He comes back with the touchdown, and they go on and win the ball game. Cohen Fletcher with a career-high 177 yards.
Which Scott, I thought that was going to be a barn burner.
Third straight year it's been decided by a touchdown in the final couple minutes.
But now they're 2-0, going and hosting now a 2-0 Ringo team. So it makes that game even bigger probably in the county's eyes.
Yeah.
I've seen Ringo a few times now, but I haven't seen Heritage. I think Heritage, per you, may be an older team than Ringo.
A little bit.
But here's the thing about Ringo. Ringo's played really well, but they have not been in a tough, tight, close ball game yet. And I think sometimes it's good to be there and to come out of that game so that you understand when you get in that game what it's going to be like, because they haven't been there.
I think I said before the season started, we're not going to know how good Ringo is until week 3, because I expected him to beat Dade. Well, maybe not by 32 points.
Well, it could have been worse. It could have been whatever they named the score.
Murray County game. Look, I mean, Grady had it, caught 3 passes, all 3 were touchdowns. I mean, that thing was over.
And they had 2 scrimmages they dominated in too, so they really haven't been challenged yet.
They will be challenged.
I'm sure they will.
Be challenged.
I'm sure they will.
Not only having to play on the road for the first time this season, and because, I mean, look, they had 2 scrimmages. One was at Ringo, one was at a neutral site. So they haven't really had a true road test yet.
But in that particular statement, Scott, yes, it's across county, but I don't know that it feels so much like a away game to them. They'll have as many fans there as Heritage will.
There were cars parked on the side of Battlefield Parkway going up to that game on Friday night, and between Lakeview and Heritage, and for Ringgold it'll be the same way. And I mean, that's the thing too. For Ringgold and for Lakeview they both want to beat Heritage. But if they don't, in the grand scheme of things,
it's not the end of the world.
No, I mean, Lakeview went up there Friday night. We went into that game, lose by a touchdown, put up a hell of an effort, had chances to win that game. The Warriors walk out of that game with their head held high. They knew they were right there. They had come off a blowout against Ridgeland in week 1. This week against North Murray will be, if they go out there and they beat North Murray, and they go into that Ringo game at 2-1, and let's just say, either
they got a week off. They got a week off this week.
But then they got North Murray, then Ringo,
which is not going to be easy.
Easy.
No, a solid test for them anytime you play North Murray.
That those 2 teams face each other in 3 weeks from now, and they're both at 2-1 or 2-1 and 3-0. It'll just be that much bigger, and that game does mean something. That is a region game. That is one of the oldest rivalries in the area. That's going to be
and it's a
big.
Region game. It's a region.
It's a region game. It's also, we talked about Gordon Lee Tryon, the longest, oldest, continuously played rivalry in the state. Number 2 on that list.
Like
is LFO Ringo.
How many years?
I think every year since 1950.
40, 50 something, yeah.
And
Late
we
40s,
looked
early
this up a
50s.
while back, and it was really about even until Robert Aiken's era took over. Then there's been, I think Ringo's up by maybe 10, 11
I was
games
going to say, I
now.
didn't even think it was that many. I thought
I
it was
think
like 5 or
maybe.
6
Yeah.
maybe, but...
I think it's
Yeah.
about an 11-game margin. 10
Well, and
games.
then that list that came out at the first of the year, or back in the summer that we saw, I had no idea the one that we saw about the region championship. You know, Lakeview's not had one in 20 years,
20 years.
but Ringgold has never
Ringo's
had one
never
in
had one.
football. And that floored
I knew
me.
that, but I think
expected,
I think a lot of folks over the last decade or so, Rusty, football fans at Ringo would have guessed wrong on that.
Yeah.
Well,
'Cause
all I-
I think everybody thinks, well, that team went to the Final Four in 2013. Yeah, but they didn't.
They didn't win the region.
Cartersville won the
Well,
region.
and then there was the team. You know, the thing that I thought of was I remember that night we all went down to Northwest Whitfield for them, Dalton, and LFO to play for the last 2 playoff spots.
And that was for
and then
3
I
and
forgot
4.
Rome had won the championship in
Yeah.
7 quad A that year, so that was for
Rome-
second place.
Yeah, well,
Or it was
third
Rome.
and fourth.
Yeah, third and fourth. Yeah, sorry, third and fourth.
Who was second that year, Scott? Rome won it, and
Was it Northwest Whitfield?
maybe
That was Callaway. Was the
I think it was Dalton.
no Dalton got
No,
beat
Dalton
out
got
in the,
beat
in the
out.
playoff.
It was either them or
I
Murray.
thought it was Northwest. It was pretty sure it was Northwest Whitfield
be
because that was when
Northwest.
Caleb Callahan was the quarterback.
Probably was.
Yeah.
Probably was.
Um,
Probably was.
who would have been? Who would have been in that region that year? I can't remember. It's been. They
Well, had
jumped
Murray
around.
had done. Had Murray,
Murray
done
had
fall
already
up?
bumped up
Oh, had they
at
gone
that
up?
time, yeah.
Okay,
They
then
were-
it probably
they were
was
already out,
Northwest.
yeah.
Probably
Yeah.
was.
But yeah, that's going to be a classic. If you're going to the Ringo Heritage game, I suggest leaving Wednesday morning.
Leave now.
To get a parking spot
Just
because
to pop you a tent out there.
there will
on the,
be.
is it at Heritage?
It's at Heritage,
Oh god,
so
that's even worse.
there'll
as
be
far
more-
as traffic.
There'll be more parking spaces, but less ways to get in
Lord.
there, and there will be 8,000 to 9,000 people.
Oh,
maybe,
every bit
maybe
of.
more than that.
What I would tell you is, get there whenever you can get there. But I would tell you to pack some snacks and some drinks for when the game is over with while you wait in traffic to get out.
Last time I went to that
So-
game, no lie, I pulled in the parking lot at 4:45
Yeah.
to make sure I got the one parking spot, and they were already starting to take money up.
And unless you're
Because they
leaving,
knew.
and unless you're leaving before the game is over with, you ain't coming out of there in less than 45 minutes to an hour if everybody tries to go at
Arguably
once.
speaking, that's possibly speaking, most likely speaking. This is Heritage's biggest gate of the year,
Oh, it's.
so you can't miss it. You got to take advantage.
I
of
mean
it.
that game for us Friday night with Heritage and LFO.
Maybe
you know,
that's your,
I had kids,
possibly your biggest
I had
gate.
kids asking me in class. They were like, "You think it'll be crowded Friday night?" I was like, "Do I think it'll be crowded?" I was like, "You might as well go park at Parkway Baptist and Long John Silver's and all that." I was like,
Same
and
way.
walk up the sidewalk.
I got there at 5:30, parked behind the visitors bleachers, and I brought my dinner with me and a book, and I sat there
Sat
for an
there in
hour
the car.
and a half.
Well, because
and
you're
waited.
you're better off because you know what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
And
You try to get there at 7:15 this coming Friday down at Heritage. Might as well just turn around. You're not gonna make it into the game before third quarter.
And there's just a different feel in the air now. I got up yesterday morning. My wife's out of town, so me and the kids have been here by ourselves all weekend. I woke up yesterday morning, and I'm flipping through the channels, and there was a college football game coming on. Matter of fact, there were a couple of college football games. Now, they weren't anything that I really cared to watch, but I didn't care. It was still football, and I was going to watch. And then, for those of you out there, and I even posted something on social media about this, but I'm going to tell y'all right now, if you have not watched the tribute that ESPN did to Lee Corso, just get you a box of tissues and enjoy it. The extended tribute is incredible, but the little video they did where everybody and their brother got to talk to him, and they brought out his son, his granddaughters, his grandson, but Herbie at the end,
and you knew it was coming.
just because they filmed it at the College Football Hall of Fame down in Atlanta, and Herb Street walked him into the theater and sat him down, and then the screen come on and it was everybody talking to him, and then Kirk walked in afterwards and brought him back out. But when Herbie started talking, he couldn't even get through. He couldn't even get through 2 seconds, and he was already bawling. But Barkley was on there. And then I learned something about him that I didn't know, that I didn't realize that he was such good friends with Burt Reynolds. Him and Burt Reynolds were like, they played together at Florida State, and they were just really good friends and spoke real highly of each other. Like Burt used to talk about Lee being one of the only people that can make him laugh and all that. And that was, it's just, I don't know about y'all, but when it gets to this time of year, it's just a different feeling.
Well, and it's
even a little cooler in the air. I mean,
it's a hard replace for that show, arguably as good a college show that's ever been broadcast, and that's going to be a hard replace there. I don't think they got it.
No.
They'll have to just figure out another angle of how to play that out.
And you can't take that. You can't find somebody else to sit in that chair.
You don't really want to
head.
be his replacement.
The mascot thing's got to go. You can't do the mascot thing anymore because he's not doing it.
No,
it's just not the same.
You really can't play his replacement. You got to find another angle.
If I'm ESPN, I rename it Lee Corso's College Game Day.
I'd be okay with that. What do you do? Do you play?
You gotta do something.
Now, do you? I'll openly admit I'm not a huge fan of the guy, but do you elevate McAfee into the chief protagonist role that Lee played? Because I will say that the point counterpoint that McAfee and Coach Saban have with each other is hysterical.
Yeah.
So do you try to play that up more, or do you try to go out and find the next talent that can come in there and be, is there another coach out there to go along with Nick Saban that would be great on camera? Can you find a young guy that somebody...
Well, the reality of it was with Corso, you got, 35
Oh, my
plus
God,
years.
they had him for,
So, I don't know. You would like to think if you're handing the baton over that you're going to get that same length, but you don't know that.
You would hope you got a guy. I'll tell you, a guy that
we got coaches now that are retiring and coaching again.
I just
2
had
years
name
later.
Pop in my head.
Whose?
And he's been
because
on
one popped in my head too, but
he's been on ESPN before for years. Mac Brown.
Mac Brown's a good one because he has such a folksy delivery. And he's such a big sport, and
he's done it before. He was on ESPN for years before he got back into.
But you know that if you get Mac, like Rob said, you're not getting 30 years out of Mac.
No,
you're going to be
true.
And this would never happen because obviously he's going to be a sought after coaching prospect for years to come. But I'll tell you somebody who I love. There's two guys that I can think of. Lane Kiffin is one of them.
Yeah, I knew you were going to go
That's one of them. But Dan Lansing, the one at Oregon, that dude has a great personality.
But they're not done with coaching for a
No,
while.
God, no. But I mean, that's what you would ideally, if you could get a guy that young that you could have for years and years and years. And I'll tell you what. Now, if I'm one of those guys and ESPN called up and said, "What are you making right now, Coach?" And you give them the number, and they said, "Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll give you a 10-year contract right now, and we'll double that yearly salary."
And you don't have to put up with NIL and anything.
My love of coaching probably just went down considerably because.
Well, now keeping one that Monday Night Football did that with, but then eventually he got back into coaching.
Oh yeah, Gruden.
And he had a big old contract.
Would Gruden be a good one to bring back into
I think Gruden could be fun.
You got to argue about that for college, though. That's not where he laid his
but he could make
be
transition.
Fun. Well, yeah, because he knows the X's and O's so well.
Yeah. I just started thinking we had Lee Corso for college football. We got Dick Vitale for college basketball.
Yeah. Oh wow.
We had John Madden for NFL.
Madden.
I mean, we've been blessed to have a few guys that have just been the face of their sports.
Every kid our age, if you say "Whoa, Nelly" in that voice, everybody knows exactly that you're talking about Keith Jackson.
Yeah.
Some of us are old enough to remember the end of a little bit of Kurt Gowdy at the end, getting to see a few highlights of him. We all grew up with Al Michaels. We all grew up with, I think the one, and I don't think this guy ever gets the amount of respect that he deserves, but I think the one that America's going to miss the most when he finally retires is Joe Buck. Oh, I think he is the best play-by-play guy. No matter what sport you put him in, he's good at it, and he's likable, and whoever's in the booth with him, he'll make that person sound like $1 million. Because, look, I love Troy because I'm a Cowboys fan, but Troy ain't exactly gold when he opens his mouth every time. He still flubs here and there. He makes mistakes, but Joe covers him up and needles at him and gets Troy laughing and cutting up, and I think
he's the best. And I know a bunch of people don't
Boy, I
like
tell
him
you.
because, well, he's a homer for this team, a homer for that team. He's good.
I got
okay?
you. I got
He
you a
is
guy.
So
That would be an interesting thing if we tried to
so
put
good.
our top 10.
I got you a guy
Guys,
that could step in there
we
for
even get it right.
the coach role. And America, either you need that guy that America loves or they hate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, CBS would never let this man go because of how good he is at what he does and how many more years he's got. But Tony Romo would be great
he would be.
because he's polarizing. Everybody, a lot of people hate him just based on the fact that he was a Dallas Cowboy.
Yeah.
And so you would get that.
Well, the NFC East hates
But
him,
he's so good. But he's so good at what he does, and I think he could be just as good collegiately as
and
he
I'll
is.
throw another name out there that I know a bunch of people cannot stand. But for my money, he's the best color analyst in the game. It's Chris Collinsworth.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
If you don't share that opinion, that's your problem.
Oh,
Chris Collinsworth knows his stuff.
Yep.
And
He will
he's
absolutely.
really, really, really
He will
good.
absolutely hurt your feelings during a telecast.
Yeah.
Regardless of which team you root for, he will tick you off at least once or twice every game, and that's what makes him so great because he's completely fair.
Yeah.
He never gets on one side more so than the other, unless it's a blowout or something. Then he might start talking about how great things are or whatever. But
there's a lot of folks that don't care for A-Rod, but if you just forget about his past and just listen to him talk baseball.
oh yeah,
I think he's great.
He really
is.
talks baseball.
He's just a turd of a human being.
extremely well. I mean, he don't miss it at all.
I love Poppy.
Well,
Smoltz is great,
but
all of it.
Poppy's liked by all.
But you're exactly right, though.
A-Rod's
A-Rod is-
not, but if you'll just tune that out
Oh.
and listen to his baseball talk, he's not missing.
When he talks hitting, he's so even keel, and he doesn't get overly excited. He's just, I'm like, man, I bet that dude. I don't think anybody would ever take a chance on him. But I look at that guy and I'm like, God, could you imagine if that dude was a hitting coach for a Major League Baseball team?
And
right
what was
now,
the
how
old
good he would be.
Dodgers pitcher? Wore 55.
Oral Hershiser.
Hershiser.
Now,
Matt,
Oral
or
was
Bulldog.
not
Good.
polarizing by no means. And when he first got in the booth, I thought, well, he's just going to be pitcher oriented.
Mm-hmm.
He was really baseball knowledgeable. If you just listen to what he talked
Mm-hmm.
about baseball wise, now he didn't have a long tenure in that. I think it's because he wasn't polarizing. But by the same token, he knew all aspects of baseball. Just listen to him talk about
That's
it.
why Smoltz
And
is.
Smoltz does a good job breaking down the entire sport. He's not just locked in on the pitching world.
I'll tell you the one that a lot of people crapped on this guy, and I think it was because innately he was kind of unlikable. But Tim McCarver had such a long career as a color guy, and I will openly admit I've yelled at the TV a million times listening to that guy call a game. But the thing about it is he knew what he was talking about. I mean, I think it gets back into the, and this would be a fun debate one of these days to have with coaches, but I think in baseball there are like 3 or 4 positions that make the best coaches. And I think those same positions wind up making really good commentators and stuff as well. And I think none know better. Catchers always wind up being great coaches. Torrey was a catcher. I mean, there's so many
That's
of
a
them.
good point.
Yeah.
Because
That's a good point.
because they literally sit there with the control of that entire game in the palm of their hand.
They're doing more. That's a super point because they're doing more if they're calling a game or
Yeah.
something like that than Mr. Left Fielders do
Yep.
it, or Mr. Right Fielders do it, or Mr. Second Base.
That dude's watching everything.
He's doing.
He's
I
the
agree
only
with
one
that.
on the field that can see everything
Yep.
going on. And he's not only calling the pitches most times, he's calling the defensive assignments
Yep.
and everything else. So, yeah, I mean, they've got to know the game inside and out. They got to study the hitters. They got to know where the guy doesn't like them, where he likes them.
You got to know what your guy likes to throw.
What was you said there was 3 or 4 positions.
Well,
what are you thinking?
I think catchers always turn out to be really good coaches. I think pitchers typically turn out to be good coaches because of how detail oriented they are. And then I think first basemen, for some reason, always turn out to be pretty decent coaches.
and
all
I've-
3 of those
And I've
positions.
noticed, too, You know who doesn't make good managers?
Who's that?
Superstars.
Oh, they don't make good managers in anything.
No, because like Ted Williams, I remember when Washington brought him in, they couldn't live up to his
expectations
and what he did, and he finally washed his hands of the whole thing. You find most of these good managers now were not superstar players.
No.
Bruce Bochy, good, not great.
I think the Braves organization are testing the waters. I hear people asking Chipper about what would you do if you were coaching? What would you do? I don't think they'll drag Chipper back into that.
Oh, I don't think
to that.
He would
I think
to.
I think he understands. I think he's a little bit like Ted Williams, though. I think he would be so expectationally high for everybody's game that the disappointment would set in when nobody's playing the game the way I used to play the game.
Right.
And I hear his frustration
Yes.
when he talks about the Braves right now.
Yes.
He talks about it as if that's not the group I wanted to play with.
How many times over the years, when Tennessee was going through that lean stretch of, every time you turn around every 2 or 3 years, they were having to find another coach. At that times when I was finishing school and I was working out the mall, and I worked in the sports shop and I talked football with people all the time. And if I heard it one time, I heard it a million times. Well, what we need for Peyton Manning to hurry up and retire and come back and coach the Vols. No, you don't. You do not want Peyton Manning to be the coach of the Vols.
And I think as
And
many
that's the
times
point
as
Scott's
people
making.
said that, Peyton was always thinking, I don't want that job.
Backup quarterbacks.
I don't want that job.
Make good coaches.
I could see him being director of football operations. I could see him being athletic director.
Yeah.
Not the head
Not
coach.
the head
Yeah,
coach.
no, I don't think he wants
Not even
that.
offensive coordinator.
No,
I
he don't
can
want
only, off the top of my head, thinking all sports, I can only think of 2 players that you would have considered superstar players that I would have considered successful coaches, and both of them played for the same team. And that's Bill Russell and Larry Bird. And I never in my wildest would have thought Larry Bird would have made a good coach because of the whole what a trash talker he was, all that. I just didn't think he would be that guy that could lay it all out. But you hear like Reggie Miller and those guys that played for him when he was the coach at Indiana talk about his X's and O's and his in-game knowledge. They talk about him, and of course Russell, golly, that guy might be the greatest team player of all time. But those guys are the exception to the rule.
You could make this argument
Gretzky
that
was a terrible coach in hockey.
when Havlicek played and was as great as he was, and his name doesn't come up nearly as often as it should, and maybe the talent of the league wasn't as great as it is now, but when you go find his best numbers and put them up against some of the greats, his
right
numbers
there.
are right there.
Yeah.
Now, I've even seen his numbers put up against Michael Jordan's numbers, and they look similar. You can make the argument that he played at a time that the league wasn't as great talent-wise as maybe when Michael played. That's about the only argument. But his numbers are the same as every other great
It's
numbers.
like football. You really can't compare eras of
It's hard.
any sport.
It's really hard.
because the players themselves have changed. They're bigger, stronger, faster, and they're more skilled. And there was a different set of rules back then, and there was a different philosophy behind the game. It was like the '90s NBA. If you got to 80 points, you might win the ball game because. If you came out with 2 black eyes and a busted
I was going to
nose,
say, you go down the lane and you're going to get
now
mugged.
they got teams that score 83 points in the first half.
In the first half, yep.
And it's
Look at the All-Star game.
It's hard to.
I'm surprised they ain't scored 200 yet on one side or the other. For
Well,
the fourth
and
quarter.
don't be.
Did they score like 208 or
Yeah, I
something
think
a
it was
couple
like
of years
208
ago?
to 190 something. And I can't watch this anymore.
Well, it's horrible.
Football finally dropped their All-Star game, and they needed to based on the way it was playing out. It was garbage.
Bring back the skills competition.
Basketball needs to find something else
bring
to
back
do.
NFL arm wrestling.
And baseball's the best of the 3 that's left over, but then they still have changes. They're trying to play everybody, and so you're really not trying to win the game as much as you're trying to play everybody.
They did add the home field advantage in the World Series.
They took that
that's
away.
Cool. Oh, that's right.
Thank God.
I didn't like that rule.
I would
I
like
didn't
to
either.
I would like to see the NBA maybe at the All-Star game, maybe you
They've
announce,
tried a lot of different things,
you know,
Rusty.
maybe you announce all the all-stars, but maybe you got the 4 best players in the league, and you bring up, every organization has a G League team. Maybe you bring up 2 or 3 of the best G League players you got, and you figure out, old school. I'll take him.
It's like football.
Showcase your young talent.
Worst case that could ever happen is anybody get injured.
Oh yeah.
That just,
and so
they're so far concerned about that not happening, and I understand that. But then by doing that, there's no ball game either.
Oh no, it's completely diluted.
Why are we playing it?
I've heard the NBA is considering USA versus the rest of the world.
That would be cool.
Because there's enough,
and that would be fun.
NBA players
and
now
it would be
from different countries.
It would be a good preview of what the Olympics would be like. It would be one of those I will tell y'all a funny NBA story. So, I heard this yesterday. So one of my favorite podcasts to listen to is a show called All the Smoke, which if you've never watched it, I would recommend you look it up. It's
All the Smoke.
All the Smoke. It's 3 former NBA players, and they're all hilarious. But the other day they had Michelle Obama and her brother Craig Robinson on there. Okay, Craig was a longtime collegiate coach and everything. Well, he told a Jordan story that I had never heard before. So basically, he says when Jordan is starting to do these secret workouts after baseball, he's who he called because he lived there in the Chicago area, and he was like, "Come play with me." Yeah. And so Craig's like, "Yeah," and he goes, "I'm playing Michael Jordan. Obviously, I'm getting my butt kicked." One night after the other, and he told a couple little things, just little exchanges. But the funny part about it all was he said nobody knew this was going on, and he said my ultimate fear was that Mike was going to step on my foot or something coming down, and he goes, and the comeback was going to be derailed because he got hurt because I couldn't get my fat feet out of the way. Is what he said. But yeah, that show, if you've never watched it, this
kind of we're a little bit on basketball, and I was watching a piece the other day that was brought a name up that nobody's sitting here is thinking of right now, and the degree of talent that he had just at the sport of basketball, Meadowlark Lemon.
Oh yeah,
and how the people were in awe of his abilities. Of course, he was the front man for the Globetrotters, but they were talking about his ability to play the game was unmeasurable.
Those guys were
but it wasn't
incredible.
NBA. Ranking because he spent all his time with the Globetrotters. But I do remember, you take and hit a hook shot, Scott, from half court.
Oh, yeah.
Not too many NBA players can sit and do that.
He could do it on a consistent basis. The Globetrotters, for all their showmanship and flash and skits, were incredible basketball players.
The handles those guys had, just the way they could.
Wilt Chamberlain signed with them out of college. He didn't go straight to the pros. He went to the Globetrotters first.
Yeah, that's one of those things. If you've never had a chance to go see them live, go see. Well, and that can segue us into something else that's kind of on the same deal. I saw the other day that there's about to be a banana ball league.
It's growing.
Because you've got the bananas, you've got the firefighters, you've got the tailgaters, the party animals, and supposedly they're going to expand like another 3 or 4 teams.
Well, they're getting good ball
two
players.
More teams by next year.
They're getting guys that
be a
that were drafted, that played college.
Yes.
You got guys out there and play.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
Saw a guy blast a 440-foot home run out of the stadium the other day.
Well,
and it's quick, it's entertaining. And obviously, that it's driving baseball traditionalists absolutely out of their mind, but it's entertaining.
I argue with them on Facebook every day because they're like, well, "This is crap baseball.
It's not meant to be."
So I tell them it's
banana
not
ball.
supposed to be. It's banana ball.
Yeah.
And so they showed a game the other day that they had played, and there was an 11 pitch at bat in the bottom of the last inning. Went back and forth. Guy just kept fouling them off. And the guy was throwing as hard as he could throw. And on the 11th pitch, the guy hits one out for a walk-off. I said, now, if that had been the Yankees-Red Sox,
Oh, you'd have.
it'd have been top 10 on
Yes.
SportsCenter. It would have led off the
Yes.
show. Everybody be talking about it because it was bananas.
Well, let me ask you this. In y'all's
that's
opinion,
that's not baseball.
has the MLB not embraced any of this in any form or fashion?
They've not.
Because the perfect time to do is All-Star Week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They have not been against it. They've not.
No.
They've not actively
That's
tried
a-
to
that's a gr-
sabotage
that's
it
a
or
great
anything.
time
They've-
to-
They're
introduce
playing
it.
in Major League Baseball stadiums,
Yeah.
and they're selling them out left and right.
Can you not see the week of
Oh yeah.
of All-Star Week that you incorporate?
What if you bring
One
in
of those?
the banana ball All Stars versus the MLB All Stars?
That's what I was thinking.
You know, do something like that. You know,
Yeah.
it's no different than. I mean, everybody's tired of watching those stupid rock and jock softball games and. You know, the stuff like that.
The celebrities nobody's
nobody
heard
wants
of.
to watch that crap. Yeah, exactly. Bunch of reality TV stars. You know, and let's be honest.
YouTube people, not the
And I mean,
throw water on YouTube people, but
well,
I don't know some of these people are.
water away. But it goes back to, you know, the NFL was never going to let all that stuff happen anymore after Robert Edwards blew that knee out that time playing beach football. You know, that right there illustrated painfully in that one fail moment
Yeah.
what could have been happening all those years to big-time athletes. And so from that point forward, every franchise was like, no, can't do that.
That's one of the reasons why you see NBA All-Star games now with 400 points scored, because nobody wants to play defense and
So-
take a chance at the last 20 seconds of a game if it's close.
Real quick before we get out of here, I was going to bring it up. I've not watched the whole thing yet. I've gotten through the first 3 episodes, and that is the America's Team, the Gambler and his Cowboys
I got to start
on
watching that.
Netflix.
I heard somebody on the radio say it does not put him in a very good light.
Oh, it does not. No, sir, it does not. But and I've only gotten the divorce is about to happen. The first Super Bowl has been won. They have just finished the NFC Championship game the second year in a row, and the Jacksonville franchise has been announced. And Jimmy makes the quote about somebody asked, "Would you be interested in Jacksonville?" And he was like, "Well, I would talk to I'd talk to anybody. I'd be a fool not to." It's okay. So that's where it's at. What I was going to talk about was, while it does not paint Jerry in a great light at all, but when you realize what he paid for the Cowboys and what that franchise is worth right now, because he paid just over $150 million. Is what he paid for the franchise, I believe, is what
And it's at 14, 15 billion. I think
it's worth 9.2 right now
Yeah.
is the current estimation. But he was
They could sell it for.
they
10,
could sell. Oh,
Yeah.
I was going to say.
Yeah, well, right.
not more.
Because somebody else
You-
is going to see it growing too.
They were telling the other day, though, he was talking about those first few years before they made the Walker trade and all that, that at one time they were losing, whether they came to the office or not, the franchise was losing like $30,000 a day is what they were losing. And then they made the Walker trade, and even then, when if those of us that are old enough to remember it, when they won the Super Bowl the second year in a row, they went 0-2 to start the season because Emmitt Smith was holding out. Well, Emmitt was holding out, and Jerry wasn't paying him because Jerry didn't have the money to pay him because the franchise was hemorrhaging money already at that time, and that was well before he had figured any of, and of course, the next few years, and I think that's what the next few episodes will be about, all those big contracts that he signed all those superstars to that were horrible contracts for the team.
Well, here's the part. We obviously Jerry Jones knows how to make money and make money well in this industry. He kind of translates that to everything. I know everything about the sport.
Yep.
And that's where the disconnect in him and that organization is. You know, what should be the greatest head coaching job maybe in entire sports.
Nobody wants.
It doesn't look like that. That's why you take somebody that's never been one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, nobody wants it.
Nobody wants that.
You look at the last.
He's had good ones.
Oh yeah. Well,
and they've left.
He's had in my humble opinion, and I'm a lifelong Cowboys fan through and through. Ever since he bought the franchise, and he bought the franchise in 1989, he's had 2 decent head coaches that he hired. He hired Parcells, and he hired Jimmy Johnson, both of which brought on nice little periods of prosperity, and both times it was because he got himself out of the way. Jimmy even talks in the last episode I watched. Jimmy even tells about the way it started to split was when I got here. Jerry told me, "I'll handle the business, you handle the football."
Yeah.
And he's like, and that's how I thought it was going to be.
And then the crossover.
And then, but yeah, some of the stories
And the
and
crossover.
stuff are.
You can't even watch them practice. ESPN shows them him not standing right out there in the middle.
Well,
As if he's supervising the plays.
And the problem now is he is, and I.
It's not going to change until he's gone.
Right, and I hate
just
to
don't
say
know what
it,
the next group's going to do with it.
I hate to say it this way, but the problem now is when he's anywhere, anybody puts a microphone in his face and he'll talk. Yeah. And now he's like, your pawpaw that you really don't want to go out and say anything in public. You want to stay real close to him and be like, pawpaw, stop now. Yeah. That's not. We don't say that, pawpaw.
But I would love to hear somebody hint, and I've heard people ask the questions, but I'd love somebody internally hint which way they're going to go when he's out of there. Are we going to continue to be the bumbling Joneses of the world, or are we going to do the right thing and put some sharp people involved?
I have always thought that Steven and Charlotte, which are the two oldest kids, are the two that basically run the team day to day. I think both of them have, and I honestly think the only reason they don't have a GM right now is because of him. If he ever is gone, I think they'll bring in. I think they'll bring somebody. The Raiders did the same thing. Or when Al died, they brought in a general manager finally, and he, it was kind of the same deal.
Yeah, you can hire bad general managers too, but that's what they got right now.
But how
they
many,
got the worst general manager in the league.
How many good general managers over the years could have taken that Cowboys situation, especially when you have an owner that's willing to write whatever check it takes to write to have what he wants? If you would have had somebody through that, if you'd have had like Scott
But he
Pioli,
draws criticism, Rusty and Scott, for all this waiting around and not paying his stars when he should have, just like he's got Parsons sitting there. You're either going to have to write the biggest check in the league, or you're going to watch the guy go to somebody else.
And if you'd have paid him early, you wouldn't have had to worry about this.
But here he is doing the same thing.
If I was losing $30,000 a day, I'd probably change that logo.
You think the logo had something to do with it?
That would have saved it.
What about the disconnect of the kitchen?
Get rid of that star.
You want to talk about?
Get rid of the star. Just put a big D on the helmet.
What if you just put Uncle Ernie on there?
I mean, Uncle Herschel.
Hey, Cubs win.
I mean, let's be honest. If you brought that old D.
Rewind to the start of the show if you didn't know.
If you put that old D on there like they used to, like old Coach Landry used to wear on his baseball cap in training camp. Now that big block D, that would have looked pretty darn good.
I was about to say that'd be kind of sweet.
I mean, that'd be a nice throwback, maybe with the star behind it.
But
or
to
something.
a lot of people,
Rusty,
Rusty.
The star behind it, because then you're the Dallas Stars.
That's true.
To a lot of people, when he bought that franchise, there was some sins that were created right out of the gates.
And that is man. I forgot.
I mean, you let Coach Landry go.
Yeah, let me tell you something. I forgot this.
You know
happened,
more,
and I don't know if you saw this part yet.
I haven't watched it yet.
So
I'm hoping I'm going to start
after he fired Coach Landry.
That don't even sound right, does it?
He got invited onto Primetime Live on ABC at 11 o'clock on a Friday night.
Oh, I remember that.
And Sam Donaldson and Diane Sawyer ripped his butt a new one. I mean, Sam Donaldson was going, well, that ain't how it sounds, Jones. Like that back to him. I'm like, my God, this is. Well,
it was a sin.
Oh, my God.
I mean, who else is firing Coach Landry?
He was like, well, I respect everything that Coach Landry did.
No, you didn't.
And Donaldson's like, no, you didn't, Jones. I'm like,
well, no, you haven't. You want somebody else there.
I mean, I expected him to go full baby Billy on him. Go outside, nerd.
If you just keep repeating the same mistakes that we've watched for 20-something years,
and you're still
you have no gut feeling that it's really going to be any better.
He gets these, and it's the same thing that they've always done. He gets these, whereas a guy like Belichick will get the best years out of somebody, we'll see when they're starting to decline, and he gets rid of them immediately. And Jerry falls in love with every player that he's got and thinks that they're going to be that way forever. and he gets a guy like Ezekiel Elliott, who has a phenomenal rookie contract, and then instead of signing him to a decent contract and making him earn the bonuses and stuff like that, you sign him to a truckload of money and he don't do jack crap for the next 3 or 4 years.
Totally off this subject, but
Yeah,
related
yeah.
to something we were talking about. What if ESPN bought out Belichick and put him on that set?
Could he be interesting enough
Because
to be?
he apparently is really entertaining
That's
and can
what
be
I
funny
hear.
behind the scenes. But look, how long has he been coaching North Carolina?
I don't think he makes it more than 2 seasons.
I don't think he does either. I think
I think he's going to be. Oh, I just think he's going to be miserable.
or he's told.
I think he's going to be
He's
miserable.
told not to by people that he might be involved with.
Yeah, I think he's.
I
gonna
don't
be
see that
miserable.
being long term either. There's
The
so
coaching
much.
gig or the relationship?
Both.
Probably both, but I don't see the coaching gig going on that long either. He's not at football mega. First of all,
So do we know where our game of the week is this upcoming week? Or are we going to announce that later in the week?
No, it's Heritage Ringo.
Heritage Ringgold, folks.
Yep.
Stay tuned. Game of the week this week will be Heritage Ringgold. We'll be there. Scott will probably be there as well. I'll be.
And I know I'm wavering for newspaper purposes. I
Yeah.
may not be there because I may have to cover something else, but
Okay.
Stay
it's still
tuned.
up in the air.
We'll be
Okay.
back
Don't
next
make
week.
your decision based on where I'm going to be.
Be back next Sunday night, back on the Sunday rotation. We'll thank you guys for tuning in with us, and we'll catch y'all again next week.